The bridge temptation. The allure of the shortcut. The air grew thinner as they ascended, the sun now a low-hanging ember in the western sky. The scent of pine needles, damp earth, and decaying leaves filled their nostrils, a rich tapestry of the forest's perfume. Ahead, the trail forked. One well-worn and seemingly easy path dipped gently into a shallow valley, then gradually climbed to rejoin the main trail further ahead. The other, the official ridge trail, continued its steady, steeper ascent. The allure of the shortcut was undeniable. Andrew pointed towards the easier path. That looks much less strenuous, he observed, his gaze lingering on the gently sloping descent. We could save a considerable amount of time and energy. Kaylin cautiously voiced a concern. But is it safe? The trail map doesn't show that path. Her brow furrowed slightly, her thoughtful expression betraying her apprehension. The question hung in the air, a silent challenge to their collective wisdom. The shortcut's temptation was palpable, a siren song whispering promises of ease and convenience. The longer, more challenging path, represented by the continued ascent, seemed suddenly arduous, its demands almost insurmountable after their earlier exertion. Sensing the internal struggle unfolding before him, Pappy smiled gently. He didn't rush to offer an answer, instead, he allowed silence to linger, a fertile ground for reflection and discussion. He knew this was a teachable moment, a chance to impart a valuable life lesson veiled in the metaphor of the trail. Ever perceptive, Grana spoke softly, sometimes, the easiest path isn't always the best. We've learned that already, haven't we? She gestured back towards the first bridge, a shared memory of their earlier challenges. That bridge demanded our strength, our courage, and our faith. It was difficult, but it also rewarded us with a sense of accomplishment and a deeper appreciation for each other. We learned from the bridge trust, that trusting and obeying God gets safely us across treacherous waters. Daniel's earlier shyness melted away and spoke up, but what if the shortcut is just as safe? What if it's just easier? His tone hinted at a yearning for the less demanding option. This was precisely the point Pappy had been hoping for, a chance to discuss the nature of temptation and the dangers of succumbing to it. He knelt, gathering the youngest, Ben and Sam, close to him. My little ones, he began, his voice warm and reassuring, life is often like this trail. We face choices, and sometimes, those choices present us with shortcuts. The allure of the easy path can be very strong, can't it? It whispers promises of ease, comfort, and saving time and energy. But we must always consider if the shortcut compromises our integrity, values, or faith. He paused, allowing his words to sink in. This trail is a metaphor for our lives. The path we choose reflects the values we hold and the decisions we make. Sometimes, taking the hard road leads to unexpected rewards, not just physical, but also spiritual. It strengthens our character, builds our resilience, and deepens our faith. We grow stronger, we learn more, and our connections become even tighter when we navigate the tougher path. In the shadowed corners of existence, where light falters and uncertainty reigns, there resides a malevolent force, ancient and unyielding. This force, known to many as Satan, harbors a singular, relentless desire to sow destruction and despair among humanity. Unlike the overt chaos of physical calamities, Satan's work is subtle, insidious, and profoundly personal, targeting the very essence of our being. To comprehend the depth of Satan's desire, one must journey back to the dawn of creation, to a time before the fall. Once a radiant archangel named Lucifer, he was cast out of heaven for his pride and rebellion against the divine order. This fall from grace transformed him into Satan, a being consumed by jealousy and hatred for the Creator and his most cherished creation, humanity. Satan's enmity is not merely a vendetta against God but an all-consuming ambition to corrupt and destroy God's image reflected in mankind. His strategies are manifold, designed to entrap souls in a web of deceit, temptation, and sin. Satan's approach is rarely direct. He prefers to operate through the guise of temptation, appealing to our deepest desires and fears. Like a master puppeteer, he manipulates the strings of our weaknesses, inciting us to act against our better judgment. Consider the story of the Garden of Eden, where Satan, in the form of a serpent, tempted Eve with the fruit of the forbidden tree. His cunning words sowed doubt and desire, leading to the first act of disobedience. This ancient narrative echoes through the ages, a testament to his enduring methods. One of Satan's most potent weapons is the illusion of freedom and autonomy. He whispers promises of power, pleasure, and liberation, convincing us that true fulfillment lies in casting off moral and spiritual constraints. However, these promises are empty, leading only to bondage and despair. The allure of sin is often masked by its immediate gratification, blinding us to its long-term consequences. Whether through the pursuit of wealth, power, or carnal pleasures, Satan's ultimate goal is to divert our focus from the divine to the temporal, from the soul's eternal well-being to the fleeting satisfaction of the flesh. Satan thrives on division, employing it to fracture the unity that binds us. By sowing discord among individuals, families, and communities, he weakens the very fabric of society. Through lies, prejudice, and mistrust, he fosters an environment where love and understanding are supplanted by hatred and conflict. Ultimately, Satan's desire is to claim our souls, separating us from the divine light and love of God. This spiritual warfare is waged on the battleground of our hearts and minds, where every thought, decision, and action have eternal significance. However, this narrative is not one of hopelessness. For every whisper of darkness, there is a louder call to light. Faith, prayer, and righteousness are our armor, and the divine grace of God is our shield. The path may be fraught with trials, but it is also illuminated by the promise of redemption and the unwavering love of the Creator. Resistance against Satan's desire is a testament to the strength of the human spirit. By acknowledging our vulnerabilities and seeking divine guidance, we can stand firm against the onslaught of temptation. The stories of saints and martyrs who have endured great trials serve as beacons of hope and courage, reminding us that victory over darkness is possible. In this eternal struggle, every small act of kindness, every moment of self-control, and every prayer uttered in faith chips away at the foundation of Satan's empire. Our collective efforts to live in truth and love create ripples that counteract the waves of malice. Satan's desire to destroy humanity is a profound and pervasive threat, but it is not insurmountable. By understanding his methods and fortifying ourselves with faith, we can navigate the treacherous paths he lays before us. The journey is arduous, but the destination is a realm of peace, love, and divine communion. In the end, the narrative of Satan's malice underscores the resilience of the human spirit and the boundless grace of God. It is a call to vigilance, faith, and unity, for in our steadfast resistance, we honor the divine image within us and thwart the designs of darkness. As they stood in contemplation, Pappy continued, think about the bridges in the Bible. They are symbols of transition, connection, and overcoming obstacles. In the story of Moses, the parting of the Red Sea can be seen as a divine bridge, allowing the Israelites to escape from bondage and move towards freedom. Jesus himself is often referred to as a bridge between humanity and God, offering salvation and eternal life. These bridges are not just physical structures, they represent faith, trust, and divine intervention, guiding us through life's trials and challenges. He gestured towards the trail. Just like those biblical bridges, every bridge we encounter in life, be it physical, emotional, or spiritual, serves a purpose. It helps us cross over from one phase to another, it connects us to new experiences, and it enables us to overcome obstacles. Building and crossing these bridges require effort, courage, and faith. Sometimes, the bridge may be rickety and challenging, but crossing it strengthens us and prepares us for the journey ahead. Pappy looked at each of them, his eyes filled with wisdom and love. Remember, my dear ones, that the bridges we build and cross in life are reflections of our faith and determination. They test our resolve and shape our character. So, when faced with the choice of a shortcut or the harder path, think of what lies beyond each bridge. The easy path may seem tempting, but the harder path often leads to greater rewards, deeper connections, and a stronger, more resilient spirit. With that, the group slowly began to move towards the steeper ascent, their spirits lifted by the profound lesson imparted by Pappy. The allure of the shortcut had been replaced by the determination to tackle the harder path, knowing that the bridges they would cross along the way would enrich their lives and strengthen their bonds. As they climbed, Pappy's words resonated deeply within them, a guiding light in their hearts. The trail ahead was steep and challenging, but with each step, they embraced the journey, ready to face the bridges that lay ahead, and grow stronger through their faith, courage, and determination. Seeing the children's hesitation, Pappy decided it was time for his pocket sermon. Sam reached into the deep pocket of his coat and pulled out a small, intricately carved wooden cross. Pappy, holding it gently, addressed the children whose eyes were now fixed on this humble object. "My dear ones," he began, his voice resonating with warmth and wisdom, "sometimes, faith requires us to trust even when we don't understand the path ahead. This cross," he held it up for all to see, "is a symbol of that trust. When faced with a choice, remember that true strength comes from within, from our faith and our connections. We carry pieces of faith like this cross in our hearts, guiding us even when the way seems unclear." He handed the cross back to the youngest, Sam, who looked at it with a mix of awe and curiosity. "Hold this, Sam," Pappy continued, "and feel its weight. This is a reminder that sometimes, we need to carry our faith close, trust in its guidance, and believe that the path, no matter how steep, is the right one if it aligns with our values and integrity." As the cross was passed from hand to hand, each child took a moment to reflect on Pappy's words. The simple act of holding the cross seemed to imbue them with a renewed sense of purpose and unity. Pappy's pocket sermon wasn't just about the object itself but about the deeper lesson of trust and faith in their journey. "Remember," Pappy concluded, "the small cross is a symbol, but the true power lies in our hearts and our faith. With that, we can face any challenge, resist any temptation, and find the strength to choose the right path." The children, engaged in this profound discussion, now understood the larger significance of their decision. The shortcut wasn't just about choosing a less strenuous path on a hiking trail, it was a metaphor for life's temptations, a powerful illustration of our choices and their consequences. The decision, therefore, was not just a simple navigational choice but a profoundly symbolic one, reflecting their ability to discern right from wrong, to resist the allure of instant gratification, and to embrace the path of growth, perseverance, and faith. After a long pause filled with reflective silence, they made their choice. Together, they agreed to continue on the ridge trail, choosing the harder yet more rewarding path. The decision strengthened their bond, reinforcing their faith, and solidifying their understanding of the critical life lesson, that actual growth and fulfillment come not from avoiding difficulties, but from facing them head-on with faith, love, and unity. They started their ascent, each step reinforcing their commitment, their spirits renewed, their hearts strengthened, their family bond deeper than before. The setting sun cast long shadows as they continued their ascent, the air growing cooler, but their hearts warm with the certainty of their decision and the promise of the strength they had discovered within themselves and their family. Choosing the more challenging path and rejecting the seductive lure of the shortcut became a defining moment in their journey, a testament to their growing maturity, deepened faith, and unbreakable family bond. The path stretched before them, winding upward, symbolizing the challenges yet to come, but they faced it, not with fear, but with a quiet confidence and an unwavering belief in their shared faith and collective strength. They were a family, bound together by love, faith, and the lessons learned on their journey. The memory of the temptation of the shortcut would forever serve as a reminder of the importance of choosing the harder path, a testament to the belief that genuine growth comes from facing challenges with faith, love, and a steadfast spirit. They continued onwards, not just to the next bridge, but to a deeper understanding of themselves. The next bridge loomed in the distance, a new challenge awaiting them, but they approached it with a renewed sense of purpose. Their steps were filled with unwavering faith, their hearts overflowing with love, and their family bonds more potent than ever. Resisting the urge. The decision hung heavily, a palpable tension replacing the earlier playful banter. The allure of the easier path, the shortcut that promised respite from the relentless climb, still tugged at their hearts. Andrew shifted his weight from one foot to the other, his gaze flickering between the well-worn, inviting path and the steeper, more challenging route ahead. He voiced the unspoken question echoing in everyone's minds, "Are we sure about this? The other path looks so easier." Kaylin, usually so quick to offer a solution, remained silent, her gaze fixed on the distant ridge. She understood the appeal of the shortcut and the temptation to yield to its immediate comfort, but something deeper within her resonated with the message Pappy had imparted. It wasn't just about physical exertion, it was about choosing the path that aligned with their values, faith, and commitment to each other. The choice represented something far more significant than a mere change in direction on a hiking trail. Daniel spoke up, his initial apprehension replaced by a newfound maturity, his voice surprisingly firm. "Remember what Grana said about the first bridge? It was hard, but crossing it made us stronger. This is just another test, another chance to prove that we can overcome challenges." His words resonated with the wisdom from reflecting upon past experiences and understanding the importance of perseverance and resilience. Ian, quietly, added a thoughtful perspective. "It's not just about the physical journey, it's about the spiritual journey, too. Taking the shortcut might make us feel better now, but it could leave us with a lingering regret of having compromised our integrity." His words underscored the importance of making choices aligned with their deeper values and moral compass. Initially mesmerized by the more straightforward path's tempting allure, the younger boys, Ben and Sam, seemed to understand the conversation's gravity. They clung to Grana and Pappy's hands, their quiet acceptance hinting at an understanding beyond their years. They sensed the importance of this decision, the weight of the choice, and the unspoken commitment it represented. They witnessed their older siblings' internal struggle, and silently, in their quiet way, they offered their support. Sensing the children's understanding shift, Pappy gently knelt before them, his heart overflowing with pride and gratitude. He pointed to the wildflowers, especially that adorned the trail, their vibrant colors a stark contrast against the earthy tones of the forest floor. "Look at these flowers, my little ones," he said softly. "They don't bloom in sheltered places. They thrive in the sun and endure the rain and wind, growing stronger and more beautiful through their challenges." He used the natural world around them to illustrate a powerful lesson: resilience, growth, and beauty often emerge from facing adversity. Daniel said, "Yes, I know, there's a dandelion." Upon hearing Daniel's lament, let me tell you the story about the mischievous dandelion wand. Pappy had always been known for his playful spirit and love for a good prank. One sunny afternoon, as the family gathered in the backyard, he decided to relive one of his favorite childhood antics, this time with his young grandson, Daniel, who was just beginning to understand the world around him. Daniel, with his bright eyes and innocent smile, was the perfect target for Pappy's mischief. As they wandered through the yard, Pappy spotted a bright yellow dandelion, its fuzzy seeds just waiting to be scattered by a mischievous hand. With a twinkle in his eye, Pappy plucked the dandelion and turned to Daniel, who watched him with curious anticipation. "Daniel," Pappy said, his voice full of playful mystery, "do you know the magic of the dandelion wand?" Daniel shook his head, eyes wide with wonder. Pappy knelt to his grandson's level, holding the dandelion like a precious talisman. "This wand can find hidden treasures," he whispered, "but only if you believe in its magic." Daniel, captivated by the idea, nodded eagerly. Pappy began to wave the dandelion over Daniel's clothes, as if searching for some hidden object. He moved slowly, his face a mask of concentration, as Daniel stood still, barely daring to breathe. After a few moments, Pappy feigned surprise. "Oh no, I can't seem to find it," he said, shaking his head dramatically. "Maybe it's hidden in an unusual place." He looked at Daniel with exaggerated seriousness. "Open your mouth, Daniel. Let's see if the magic wand can find it there." Daniel, completely enthralled by the game, opened his mouth wide. Quickly as a flash, Pappy tapped the dandelion against his lips, and in an instant, the fuzzy seeds scattered into Daniel's open mouth. Daniel's eyes widened in shock, and for a moment, there was a stunned silence. Then, Pappy burst out laughing, the sound echoing through the backyard. He doubled over, tears streaming down his face from the sheer hilarity of the prank. But Daniel, too young to understand the joke, began to cry, his tiny wails piercing the air. Pappy's laughter quickly subsided as he realized his grandson was genuinely upset. "Pappy, you've gone too far this time," Grandma chided, though her eyes twinkled with a hint of amusement. "You know the rules. It's time out for you." When Kristen got home, I confessed and explained what I did. Kristen's response was, "Why?" Chagrined but still smiling, Pappy accepted his fate. He sat down on a nearby tree stump, the picture of a repentant child, as the rest of the family chuckled softly. Daniel, now calmed by Grandma's soothing presence, looked over at Pappy with a mix of confusion and awe. As the minutes ticked by, the laughter and playful banter resumed. Pappy, though in time out, couldn't help but join in the fun. He winked at Daniel, who managed a small, hesitant smile in return. The lesson was learned, but the bond between grandfather and grandson remained as strong as ever. In the end, the prank became a cherished family story, a reminder of Pappy's mischievous spirit and the innocent days of childhood. It was a tale that would be told and retold, each time with a fresh wave of laughter and a gentle reminder of the importance of playfulness, love, and the occasional time out. He continued, his voice low and reassuring, life is full of temptations, little ones. Sometimes, the easy path looks so much more inviting, so much more appealing. But choosing the harder path, which demands strength, courage, and faith, allows us to grow spiritually and become better versions of ourselves. That's how we build character, learn valuable lessons, and deepen our connection with God and one another. And remember, choices have consequences. Grana added, her voice soft yet filled with conviction, remember the parable of the sower? The seeds that fell on fertile ground grew into strong and healthy plants despite their challenges. But the seeds that fell on rocky ground or amongst thorns, those that chose the easy path, withered and died. We must choose the fertile ground of faith, where our values and commitment to God can help us grow. Her words subtly brought in a powerful biblical context, illustrating the spiritual significance of their decision. Having grown up hearing these stories and parables, the children effortlessly understood the implicit message. The discussion continued, a blend of mature contemplation and childlike curiosity. The children shared their observations, fears, hopes, and thoughts about the choice. The adults listened intently, offering guidance and encouragement but mostly allowing the children to lead the conversation. The open and honest communication, mutual respect, and shared values within the family created a powerful space for dialogue and shared learning. The setting sun cast long shadows across the trail, adding a sense of urgency to their decision. Yet, there was no rush, no pressure, only a shared understanding of the importance of making a deliberate and informed choice. The beauty of the natural world around them with the vibrant hues of the sunset, the rustling of the leaves, and the distant calls of birds, constantly reminded them of the strength and resilience found in nature, a strength they sought to embody in their decision. As they began their gradual climb along the ridge trail, their hearts filled with quiet confidence and a newfound sense of purpose, the setting sun painting the sky in breathtaking orange, purple, and gold hues. The air grew cooler, but their hearts remained warm with love and shared faith, the challenging path extending before them, a symbol of the tests and trials to come. The family pressed on, not just towards the next bridge, but to a deeper understanding of themselves, their shared purpose, and the profound lessons they had learned along the ridge trail. Reaching a tranquil clearing bathed in the warm afternoon sun, the family paused their climb up the trail. This wasn't just a rest stop, it was a designated space for reflection, a moment carved out from their adventure to delve into the deeper meaning of their journey. Pappy gestured towards a large, moss-covered rock, inviting everyone to sit. The children, flushed with exertion and excitement, settled down eagerly, their initial breathlessness replaced by curious anticipation. This is where we talk about the second bridge, Pappy announced, his voice gentle yet resonant, carrying the weight of wisdom gleaned from a lifetime of experiences. This bridge represents temptation. The distraction of the easy path, the shortcut that seems so appealing at first, but often leads to regret and disappointment. He paused, allowing his words to sink in, his gaze sweeping across the faces of his attentive grandchildren. Grana supplemented his words. Remember the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, she began, her voice soft yet clear. They were given a choice, to obey God's command or succumb to temptation. Though tempting, the fruit of the tree of knowledge held consequences that changed their lives forever. It shows us that temptation is not always obvious, it can appear attractive, even desirable, and we need to develop strength to overcome it. She picked up a small smooth stone, turning it over. This stone is like temptation. It looks harmless, unassuming, but depending on our choices it can be used for building, or destruction. Pappy continued, drawing parallels to their experience on the trail, sometimes annoyingly. The shortcut we almost took represents the many temptations that life throws our way. They might seem easier, faster, more convenient in the short term, but they often come with unseen costs. We talked about integrity earlier. The temptation to compromise our integrity, to cut corners, to take the easy way out, this is what we're talking about here. He pointed to the winding trail ahead, still leading towards the ridge. The longer, more challenging route often represents the path of righteousness, which leads to true fulfillment and lasting happiness. It demands more from us, but it rewards us in ways that the easy path never can. He leaned forward, his eyes twinkling with understanding. The Bible contains examples of temptation and the importance of resisting it. Think of Joseph, who resisted the advances of Potiphar's wife, even though it would have meant significant personal gain. His strength of character came from his faith and his commitment to his values. He chose the harder and righteous paths, and ultimately, his faithfulness was rewarded. Grana added, or think about Jesus, tempted in the wilderness for 40 days and nights. Satan gave him alluring opportunities, promising power, wealth, and glory. But Jesus resisted, steadfast in his faith and devotion to God's will. His example shows us that even the strongest among us face temptation, but we can overcome it through prayer, faith, and reliance on God's guidance. She paused, allowing the significance of Jesus' example to sink into their minds. Initially quiet in contemplation, the children began to chime in, each sharing their understanding and insights. Kaylin pondered aloud, so, it's not about avoiding temptation altogether, but about having the strength to say no when we need to? Pappy nodded. Exactly, Kaylin. Life will always present us with choices. Temptation is inevitable. But our response to temptation and our ability to discern between right and wrong truly defines our character and shapes our journey. Daniel spoke up confidently, like the first bridge, facing temptation makes us stronger. Each time we resist, we build our resilience and develop our ability to make better choices in the future. Pappy added, Daniel, trust in God makes successfully crossing the other bridges possible. Ian added, and it's about remembering our values. If we focus on what matters most to our faith, family, and principles, it becomes easier to resist the temptations that try to pull us off course. Though younger, Ben and Sam actively participated, their faces mirrored their older cousins' understanding. They absorbed the teachings, the discussion, and the importance of making the right choices. They understood the gravity of temptation, and the shared lessons set a solid foundation for their journey. Pappy smiled, his heart filled with pride. Exactly. Temptation can be like a strong wind that tries to blow us off course. But if our roots are firmly planted in our faith and values, we can weather any storm. Grana added a thoughtful perspective, and it's not just about personal strength. It's about community and support. Surrounding ourselves with people who share our values and encourage us to do what's right, that's a powerful defense against temptation. She looked at the family gathered around her, a warmth radiating from her eyes. This is exactly why family is so important. We support, encourage, and help each other stay on the right path. The discussion flowed smoothly, blending biblical teachings, personal experiences, and insightful observations from the children. They talked about the importance of prayer, the power of forgiveness, and the transformative role of faith in overcoming challenges. The setting sun cast long shadows across the clearing, the waning light adding a sense of urgency and importance to their conversation. But there was no rush, only a shared understanding of the significance of their reflection. The family concluded their discussion as dusk began to settle, casting a warm golden hue across the forest. Their hearts were filled with a newfound appreciation for the complexities of temptation and the power of faith. The memory of this quiet clearing, this space for reflection, would forever be etched in their minds as a reminder of the lessons learned and the values they cherished. They reached a breathtaking vista, a rocky outcrop overlooking a sprawling valley bathed in the golden light of the late afternoon sun. The previous struggle, the near miss with the shortcut, felt distant now, replaced by a profound sense of accomplishment. They had chosen the harder path, the path of integrity, and the reward was a literal and metaphorical panoramic view. Pappy gestured at the landscape before them with his face etched with quiet satisfaction. See, my little ones, he said, his voice filled with quiet pride. This is what it means to resist temptation. The view from this vantage point is far superior to what we would have seen had we taken the more straightforward, less arduous route. The children echoed his sentiment, their faces glowing with exertion and a shared triumph. Andrew, usually reserved, spoke first. It was harder, he admitted, but the feeling now, it's worth it. Kaylin acknowledged the point. The shortcut would have been a faster route, but we wouldn't have encountered this view or shared this experience. Her statement referred not only to the physical scenery but also to the experiences they had undergone together, which strengthened their connections. Grana smiled. "This is more than just a beautiful view," she began, her voice soft yet powerful. "It's a symbol of the fruits of resistance. When we choose the path of righteousness, even when it's challenging, we reap rewards that go far beyond the immediate satisfaction of the easier choice." She pointed out the intricate details of the valley below, the winding river, the distant farms, the quiet villages nestled in the folds of the hills. Each detail, each element of this landscape, is a testament to the beauty that unfolds when we choose integrity over expediency. Pappy picked up the theme. "Think of the biblical examples," he began, his voice taking on a thoughtful tone. "David, king of Israel, faced many temptations, power, pride, lust. But his repentance, acknowledgement of his faults, and commitment to God's law ultimately led to a restoration of his relationship with God, and his legacy lived on. He chose the harder path of humility and confession, and despite his failings, he found redemption and strength. The fruits of this resistance were felt for generations to come." Daniel, emboldened by their shared experience, added his insight. "It's like building a house," he said, thoughtfully. "You can cut corners, use cheaper materials, make it quick and easy. But it won't last. It won't stand up to the storms. Building something strong and lasting requires more work, attention to detail, and commitment to quality. However, the rewards of building it right far outweigh the shortcuts." Ian chimed in, "It's about our character. Choosing the harder path strengthens our character. It builds our resilience. It teaches us discipline, perseverance, and the value of hard work." He paused, adding, "And it helps us appreciate the rewards even more." Though younger, Ben and Sam were fully engaged, their eyes reflected the landscape's awe and the discussion's depth. They were not merely listening but absorbing the lessons, internalizing the principles being taught, and laying a foundation for their own lives. The conversation continued, flowing easily from one biblical example to another: Joseph's resistance to Potiphar's wife, Daniel's steadfastness in the lion's den, and Esther's courage in confronting the king. Each story powerfully illustrates the rewards of standing firm in one's faith, resisting temptation, and adhering to one's values. Daniel playfully quizzed Pappy, "Do you think, Daniel of Lion's Den, knew about your magical dandelion wand?" Pappy knew that Daniel had forgiven him for his ill-advised dandelion prank. Pappy continued, thinking it was funny. Pappy lifted a principle from long ago as he said, "More lessons are caught than taught. As a friend taught me, often we learn what not to do from others." Grana, noticing the children's rapt attention, shared a personal anecdote. "Your Pappy and I have faced many temptations in our lives," she confessed, her voice laced with humility. "There have been times when the easy path seems so appealing, so much easier than the difficult road of integrity. But each time, the path of integrity has proven to be the better path. It has led to greater peace, greater joy, and a deeper sense of fulfillment." She continued, "We've learned that the rewards of resistance aren't always immediate. Sometimes, they are subtle, unfolding over time. But they are always worth the struggle. The rewards might be a stronger marriage, a deeper faith, a greater sense of self-worth, or, like today, a breathtaking view." Pappy added, "And it's not just about the individual rewards, it's about the ripple effect. When we choose integrity, we set an example for others. We inspire others to do the same. We build a stronger community, family, and world." The setting sun cast long shadows, painting the valley in orange, purple, and gold hues. The family lingered on the outcrop, savoring the moment, the silence punctuated only by the gentle whisper of the wind. The beauty of the landscape mirrored the beauty of their shared commitment to faith, family, and integrity. They discussed the importance of prayer in sustaining them through temptation and relying on God for strength and guidance. They recounted how their faith had helped them resist temptations and how their shared struggles and triumphs strengthened their family bonds. As darkness descended, enveloping them in the quiet stillness of the mountain night, they descended the trail, their steps lighter, their hearts filled with a profound sense of gratitude and accomplishment. The fruits of their resistance were a breathtaking view, a deepened faith, stronger family bonds, and a renewed sense of purpose. They had crossed another symbolic bridge, not only on their physical journey but also on their spiritual one, emerging stronger, wiser, and more united than before. The memory of this vista, this celebration of their resilience, would be a constant reminder of the rewards of choosing the righteous path, a beacon of hope and encouragement for the challenges ahead on their journey. They continued their trek, the night sky ablaze with stars, a testament to the vastness of God's creation and the immeasurable rewards of living a life guided by faith and integrity. The children, energized by their shared triumph, chattered excitedly, their voices a harmonious blend of youthful exuberance and newfound wisdom. They recounted the near miss with the shortcut, the temptation to veer off course, and how their collective decision to persevere had ultimately led them to a far greater reward, not just the scenic beauty, but a deeper understanding of themselves and their shared faith. Pappy steered the conversation towards the importance of ongoing vigilance. The battle against temptation is not a single encounter, my little ones, he explained, his voice soft yet firm. It's a continuous journey, a daily commitment to choosing the right path, even when the road is arduous, and the destination unclear. The devil will always try to lure us toward the easy path, the path of least resistance, the path that seems so appealing in the moment, but will lead to sorrow and regret in the end. Kindness with gentle wisdom, Grana added, it's like tending to a garden. We must constantly weed out the undesirable, the temptations that seek to choke the growth of our faith and virtue. We must nurture the good, the seeds of righteousness planted within us, and carefully cultivate them with prayer, devotion, and unwavering commitment to God's teachings. Andrew's voice resonating with how the shared experience had strengthened his resolve. I realize now that choosing the harder path isn't self-denial but self-discovery, he said. It's about pushing beyond our comfort zones, stretching our boundaries, and discovering a strength and resilience we never knew we possessed. The conversation flowed easily, each family member sharing personal anecdotes, moments where they had faced temptation, and how their faith had helped them navigate those challenging times. The light-hearted and profound stories served as a testament to the resilience of the human spirit and the power of faith to sustain and guide us through life's trials. Daniel spoke of a time when he felt tempted to cheat on a test, when the easy path seemed overwhelmingly attractive. But the memory of their journey across the bridge, the breathtaking vista that awaited them at the end, helped him resist the temptation. I thought about the hard work I'd put into studying, and I knew that cheating would cheapen that effort, he explained. It would have undermined my integrity and my sense of self-worth. Ian shared how he had recently resisted the temptation to succumb to peer pressure, to do something he knew was wrong just to fit in. He recounted how recalling the lessons from their hike, the importance of staying true to one's values and the rewards of choosing the righteous path had given him the strength to resist. It felt like I was carrying that panoramic view in my heart, he said, a reminder of the beauty that comes from making the right choice. Ben and Sam contributed their own insights, recounting small but significant instances of resisted temptation, sharing their toys, telling the truth even when it was easier to lie, choosing kindness over selfishness. They're simple yet powerful. Pappy said, let me tell you a story that lodged in my heart. The sighed with but groans, but listened respectfully. Once upon a time, two brothers lived side by side in adjoining properties. Their homes were separated by a small but sparkling stream that ran through the verdant landscape. For years, they shared everything, joys, sorrows, and the land that nourished their lives. But as time passed, misunderstandings and grievances took root, leading to a bitter fallout that severed their once strong bond. One day, the older brother, in a fit of anger, decided he could no longer bear the sight of his sibling. He hired a skilled carpenter to construct a fence that would permanently separate their properties, ensuring he would never have to see his brother again. Build me a fence, he instructed the carpenter, so tall and sturdy that it blocks the view of his house completely. The carpenter, a wise and gentle soul, listened to the older brother's request but did not agree with it. He nodded and said, I understand. I will build something strong and lasting. With that, the older brother left for a trip, seeking solace and distance from the turmoil that had engulfed his heart. While he was away, the carpenter set to work. He toiled steadily, but instead of constructing a fence, he devised a plan to build a bridge over the stream, a bridge that would connect the two properties and offer a path to reconciliation. When the older brother returned from his trip, his heart heavy with regret and longing, he was astonished to see the carpenter's handiwork. Instead of the tall fence he had envisioned, he found a beautiful bridge spanning the stream. The bridge was a marvel, crafted with care and precision, inviting anyone who crossed it to embark on a journey of healing and forgiveness. Just as he stood there, bewildered and unsure of what to do, the younger brother appeared on the other side of the bridge. The sight of his estranged sibling, standing at the threshold of reconciliation, brought tears to the older brother's eyes. The younger brother hesitated for a moment before stepping onto the bridge. They met in the middle, each step bringing them closer to the resolution of their pain. As they stood face to face on the bridge, the older brother spoke first, his voice cracking with emotion. "I'm sorry," he said, "for everything. I let my anger and pride get in the way of our bond." The younger brother's eyes softened, filled with understanding and compassion. "I'm sorry too," he replied. "I should have reached out to you instead of letting our differences tear us apart." At that moment, the weight of their grievances lifted, and they embraced each other, their hearts mending with the warmth of forgiveness. The bridge, a symbol of their reconciliation, stood as a testament to the power of love and brotherhood to overcome even the deepest wounds. From that day forward, the brothers vowed to cherish their relationship and to never let misunderstandings and pride come between them again. The bridge remained, not just as a physical structure but as a reminder of the journey they had taken towards healing and unity. The carpenter, observing the brothers' heartfelt embrace, smiled and quietly left, knowing he had fulfilled his true purpose. The bridge had not only connected two pieces of land but had also bridged two hearts that were once divided. Years later, the brothers often walked the bridge together, sharing stories, laughter, and the simple joy of each other's company. The stream below continued to sparkle, reflecting the harmony that now flowed through their lives. They would look at the bridge and remember the lesson it had taught them, that reconciliation and forgiveness are the true paths to healing. As time went on, the brothers' properties flourished with the joy and peace they had cultivated. They inspired their neighbors and friends, who saw the bridge as a beacon of hope and reconciliation. The tale of the bridge spread far and wide, reminding everyone that even the deepest rifts can be mended with love, understanding, and the willingness to forgive. And so, the story of the Bridge of Reconciliation became a cherished legend in the community, a beautiful testament to the enduring power of brotherhood and the unbreakable bond of family. Let me tell you a new word. The pontifex is a rich word that holds profound significance in the context of the Bible and Christian tradition. It is a Latin meaning bridge builder. It was used to describe the work of a priest spanning the divide between God and mankind. Later we will talk more. I see in your glazed eyes and yawnings, I've spoken too long.